Good morning, good morning. Hello, my name is Stephen. I want to welcome you guys to the podcast today. Thank you for joining us online. Thank you for joining us in-house as well. We're going to talk about things that need to change. It's very important to not just change things, but to maintain those things that are changed, okay? So the three things we're going to discuss today, the first one is how do I reset my life? How do you reset your life? The second thing is manifesting your dreams, right? Manifesting the vision that God has for your life. And the third thing is the power of choice. And that's it. All right, guys, let's have a good podcast. Here we go.
Get ready for some positive, encouraging, inspiring information. But before we jump into this episode, I'd like to invite you to join this community to hear more episodes that will help you become healthier emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. All I want you to do is click on the subscribe button. We love your support, and it's incredible to see all your comments, and we're just getting started. I can't wait to go on this journey with you. Thank you so much for subscribing. It means the world to us.
Good job. All right. We're going to go through a couple of things today. It's going to be very interesting. So put your listening ears on, so to speak, right? Put your listening ears on. It's going to be very interesting. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. First thing that we're going to talk about is how to reset your life. So this is very important, what I'm about to say about how to reset your life. Just really listen in on this. Now, this works for you if you are trying to help someone reset their life, or if you are personally trying to reset your life. So I want you to think about it that way. So if you're trying to personally reset your life, this works for you. But if you're trying to help someone reset their life, this is the best way to help someone reset their life. I'm going to start with a Bible verse, and the Bible verse is in Genesis chapter 12, verse 1 through 2. I'm reading out of a different version of the Bible. It's an ICB version of the Bible. I like to look at all different types of versions. But this one's very good. This is very important. This is when the Lord basically says to Abraham to leave your country and go into a foreign land, go into a different place, right? And I like this concept because Abraham is the father of faith when it comes to like believing in the Messiah and Christianity and things like that. Abraham is really the father of the faith in that. And so what you kind of look at, what you kind of understand about that is that God is really saying, I need you to have a restart or a reset, because what I'm going to do in your life, I can't do it in the same place that you all were already at. So the place that you were at is God is saying, I need you to leave that place and go into a new country, go into a better place, go into the land that I will show you. I will lead you and show you to where you need to go. So when you think about these things, I look at this as this spiritual understanding of being born again. Being born again is sort of like this thing where the Messiah says that, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. We know the scripture, unless you are born again. But what does it really mean to be born again? It really means to have a fresh start. It really does mean to begin again. It really does mean to sort of like leave where you were and let's start all over again. And that's the thing I love about God, because God is all about new beginnings. God is all about giving you a fresh start. This is the whole concept with forgiveness of sins, right? The whole concept with the forgiveness of sins is that everything that you did, although it was horrific, although it was just terrible, God's like, listen, I'm going to wipe that all clean, and I'm not even going to remember those things. It's not like the court system in America where it stays on your record, right? But with God, he takes it off your record, which is a very wonderful thing. And that's what I love about the Father. So I want to talk about a couple of things on this. When you are going to do this reset in your life, how to reset your life, the first thing you have to do is get to a place that will allow you to be emotionally healed. You have to get to a place that is going to help you with your emotional recovery. Listen to what I'm saying. It will allow you to become emotionally better, emotionally healed. Listen to what I'm saying. The second thing that I want you to look at as well is that everyone would like to escape their problems and get to a place where they're able to forget their past pains. I'll say that one more time. Everyone wants to get to this place where they're able to escape their problems. So I want you to kind of look at, just take this podcast. This podcast can become sort of this escape mechanism for people, right? And so they could want to forget about their past, want to forget about their problems, want to forget about their pain. And so they may want to say, I need a new lease on life. I need to try something different. So they begin to try, going to a podcast that kind of speaks into their life and kind of helps direct them in a new way. And so this is what everyone's looking for. I want you to realize that you don't want to carry all of your issues to the next job, to the next church, to the next place. You don't want to do that. You just don't want to be, here I come with all my baggage. Here I come with all my luggage. Here I come with all my issues, all my problems. And then immediately you are already identified as the victim when you get to where you're going in the new place. The whole point of God moving you into another place is that you can leave the old persona behind, the old state of mind behind, the old lifestyle behind. This is the whole reason how God elevates us and moves us to the next level. So let's talk about this as well. I'm going to give you 3 things really quick to kind of look at. 3 things to remember when you're resetting your life. The first thing is never share your past when starting a new friendship. Listen to what I'm saying. Never share your past when starting a brand new friendship. Okay? Because what happens is you'll begin to shock people into your life. A lot of times what we've been through, what I've been through personally, maybe what you've been through can be very shocking. So why, when you're starting a brand new friendship, if you start to share things that are sensitive, what you do is you begin to sort of contaminate your new relationships, right? So it's like we have to let our relationships grow organically. That means that, like, if I know, let's just take Jeff, for instance. If I know Jeff, and I've been around Jeff, and I know who he is, and then he shares some things with me, it's different. It's a different impact on my psyche. It's a different impact on his psyche. But if he shares sensitive information before we've built any kind of long-term relationship, it's a great way to cut off the friendship and cut off the relationship. So typically, I'll go a little bit deeper. Let's look at it like this. Proverbs 18, chapter 6 through 7, NIV, it says this right here. The lips of a fool brings them strife. It says their mouth invites a beating, right? The mouth of fools are their own undoing, and their lips are a snare to their very lives, right? And so the concept of that, I want to say this point one more time. Never share your past when starting new friendships. Never share your past when starting new relationships. If you want to be liked and you want people to move forward with your life and you're getting a new lease, a new start, don't start as the victim. Don't start with problems. Don't start with this is everything I've been through. This is everything I've gone through. Don't start the relationship like that. If you're getting a new start on life, a new lease on life, leave the past in the past. Okay? Number 2, this is very important. If you're trying to help someone get a new start, or if you're trying to get a new start, number 2 is very important too, is avoid people who are interested in your backstory. People who are interested in your backstory. I look at these people as people who have a tendency to harvest fruit before it's ripe. When the time is right, when the relationship has built itself and grown in a certain way, then I can probably share things with you that I feel comfortable sharing. But there's a tendency to want to pick fruit before it's ripe. That means we over-assess the situation in the friendship, and we can run people away and run people off because we've shared information that now we're ashamed of. And so now every time I see your face, I'm reminded, I'm in a new place, right? But I'm reminded of all my past every time I see you. In fact, I see my history on your face because I told you what I shouldn't have shared too early on in the relationship. Does that make sense? Make sense? So how to move on? How to get this new start? How do we do this? And typically when you've gone too deep too soon, you see those people disappear very quickly. You've gone too deep too soon. That means you didn't earn the right to get that deep yet. So what most people are looking for is just a friend. Someone who's not going to bring up their past. Someone who's not going to even be interested in the backstory. Think about that, what I'm saying to you. Think about what I'm saying. Leave the backstory alone, right? Help people move beyond their past and their pains and all these different things. Sometimes we think we're being a friend, but in fact, what happens is we're really just digging up the wrong things out of people's lives, right? And so listen what Proverbs 20:19 says. A gossip betrays a confidence, so avoid anyone who talks too much. What does that really mean? It's like too much talking. Let's talk about the way this salad tastes, or let's talk about what you did with these potato chips. I don't know, but too much talking can ruin your relationship, can ruin a friendship. Here's the thing you have to realize. Sometimes we get in our 50s and we still haven't figured these things out. A lot of our friends that we have are long-term friends, right? But maybe these aren't friends that we see every day. Maybe these aren't friends that we fellowship with even every weekend. But I'm talking about how do we build long-term relationships? Well, the way we do that is we leave people's past in the past and we let them move into a new season in their life. This is very important because if you don't do that, you'll end up sabotaging the growth of friends in your own life. And hopefully this helps you out, getting a new start, because I want to leave my yesterday in yesterday. Believe me, if my yesterday is good enough to talk about, I'll bring it up on my own. The third thing is, share new experiences is how you build bonding relationships. So if you're going to bond with the new people that God brings in your life, you create brand new experiences with those people. So I'm looking at trying to create brand new experiences that have nothing to do or not even weighing on the past experiences. In fact, that's not even relevant to where we're going or where God is taking us at. See, a lot of times your past is not meant for everybody to know. And so you got to protect yourself a little bit, right? When the fact is that most people are really trying to get a new lease on life. They're trying to become someone new. You understand what I'm saying? And you have to understand these things about the human psyche, because people will share things with you and then later, as they wake up the next day, they're embarrassed of what they shared with you. And then they don't know whether or not you talked to this person or that person or this person or that person. And depending on what you shared with them gives them the evidence whether or not you may have shared information with someone else. So that means that when you start to tell, if I'm talking to Jeff, but as I'm talking to Jeff and I'm finding out his backstory, I start to talk about Mike's backstory. Well, as I start to talk about Mike's backstory, then Jeff clearly knows that, guess what? I'm sharing backstories with everyone. As you share me some of your backstory, I'm sharing. So what happens is that as we don't always get it in the moment, we go away and process later. So that's what most humans do. In the moment, we get caught up. But then we go back and we think, they said this, I said this. Why did they say this? What did they mean by this? Like, we process things. And so when people are trying to get a new lease on life, help them by not being nosy. Help them by not getting in their business. Help them by just being like, well, hey, whatever's going on, and that doesn't matter. Let's make this cake. We're here to make this cake today, so let's just bake this cake. You understand that? People don't want to be reminded of their pain. People need to move away. They're trying to move away from their pain, their failures. I don't need to go back to that whole big podcast. This whole big thing that we've been thinking about was, how do you avoid negative thoughts? How do you get past your yesterday? How do you wake up feeling like I can move forward without being judged? Like, that's not important what you did in your yesterday. What's important is what you choose to do with your today. Okay? That's how it is with God. That's how it stands with God. That's how it should stand with the church. That's how it should stand with the people of God. And I think it's very important that we understand that, right? I think that getting someone who you just met to open up to you quickly is the best way to push them away. So someone you just met, if you can get that person to open up really quick to you, that's the best way that they'll probably disappear out of your life. They'll fade away. Here's the thing that I would say, once again, and I'll say it over and over again. People want to leave the evils in the past in the past. People want to leave the evils in the past in the past. You hear what I'm saying? You know, this is the thing with society and culture that I don't like, but it does happen. I don't like it. But it's when people are willingly telling your backstory, and so you come into a place that, oh, that's the one. That was the one that, that's the one that, you know what I'm talking about? Like, what's that about? That's gossip. Oh, that's the one that this, that's the one. Oh, yeah, that's the, That's gossip. Here's what it says in Proverbs 16:27. It says, an ungodly man digs up evil. Can you just please leave that alone? Let me help you out. For me to inquire into your past makes me ungodly. For me to dig up, because that's not how God operates. Everyone, think about when the Messiah came to Peter. What was Peter's first response? Oh, I'm an ungodly man. I'm a man of unclean lips. And Jesus is not concerned with it. He knows your past. The only one who needs to know your past knows it. Guess who that is? God. You see that in a lot of movies. They do it all the time where, especially with Wolverine. He moves away and he's trying to get past his past and he's trying not to, kill anybody. You know what I mean? But then someone finds out and somebody says, hey, and I think that's the best way to pick apart each other. Think about what I'm saying. So don't make the sight of your new face the remembrance of someone's personal or their old pain. Don't make your new face the sight of someone's old pain. You're a new face, and they came to you because you're a new face, which means I can go in a new direction. But when you know all of my past, now I've stopped myself. I've cut myself off because now the person that I once enjoyed the company of, I can't really enjoy the company no more. Because when you know my past, you have a tendency to ask about it. So how you doing with so-and-so? How you doing with this? What about this? What's going on? So now it becomes the subject of remembrance. So Ecclesiastes 1:18 says this, for in much wisdom is much grief, and he who increases knowledge increases sorrow. This is very interesting because I don't know how we think about that, but basically sometimes knowing hurts me. I'd rather not know. I'd rather leave it to God and let him sort it out. Are there people still like that? Like, at the end, God will sort it all out, right? I'd rather not know. What do you get out of a relationship when someone doesn't really know your history? Will you ever know that? Will you ever know that? What does a person get out of the relationship? In fact, what will you create and get out of the relationship if you stop sharing your backstory? Think about it. Think about it. I think it is sort of inevitable, right? That once you share your past with people, that they cannot help themselves. They will eventually begin to see you through the lens of your past experience. It's inevitable. We're humans. We're creatures of emotion, creatures of habit. So that means that every time I see you, I see woe is he, woe is she, woe is the one who went through this, and woe is the one. And so every time I see you, I now speak to you through the lens of that victim. But you're not the victim. You're the victor. You don't realize the tone of your voice is carrying someone's past in it. You can't help yourself. You're human, so it's best not even to concern yourself with it, so that when you speak to them, you can speak life. And when you speak to them, you can encourage them. Think about it. Think about it. Don't hurt or hinder yourself from loving someone the way you should because you know so much about their backstory. It doesn't help you at all to love them going forward. Proverbs 10:19 says this, if you talk a lot, you are sure to sin. This is. I didn't make this stuff up. I would like to have made this up. I probably would make this verse up totally. You know what I'm saying? This is a good verse. But if you talk a lot, it says you are sure to sin. If you are wise, you will keep quiet. Even though we know the Bible verse, be quick to hear, slow to speak, we still are speaking a lot. We push right past that. So think about it. It's okay to stay away from people who are interested in your backstory. It's okay. Proverbs 17:9 says this right here. Forgive someone, and you will strengthen your friendship. Keep reminding them, and you will destroy it. Do not become the remembrance of someone's past. Don't be, whatever was toxic, whatever was over in that, don't be a part of that no more. Do you understand what I'm saying? Manifesting your dreams, right? Manifestation is always current. It is never futuristic. So if you are making manifestation a futuristic concept, get rid of that. Manifestation is today. Manifest your dreams today. Walk and live in those things as though they are today. One of the greatest things that the Messiah said is, therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. The very important thing to note is that it does not say, believe that you will receive it. It doesn't say that. It does not say, believe that you will receive it and it will be yours. It says, believe that you have received it. Well, I'm asking to receive it. Well, he said, when you pray, believe that you have already received what you're asking for. So if you want to be set free, believe it in the moment that I'm going to be set free. If you want to manifest something in your life, believe that when you are going to God, if you think this is good for your life, if you believe that this is going to take you in a better direction, it is noble in that. So believe that when you actually go to God, that he desires to give you what you desire. Now let me help you out. And I'll get a little deep in this concept a little bit. It says in Proverbs chapter 10, verse 24, it says, what the wicked dread will overtake them. What the righteous desire will be granted. If you notice something, the wicked and the righteous are both receiving what they're thinking about. They're both receiving, whether you're wicked. But here's the thing. What makes you wicked? What makes you wicked is that you don't have faith. What makes you wicked is you're not trusting God, trusting your Creator. What did Jesus say when they were on a boat and they were afraid they were going to drown? What does Jesus say to them? What Jesus says is he says that, "O ye of little faith." Or when they couldn't cast out a demon, he says, "You adulterous and perverse generation." So he looked at a lack of trusting the Creator, trusting God as being wicked. And those people still are bringing on the desires of their heart. It's still being manifested. Oh, I feel, this is what I fear. This is what I fear. Well, then if you fear going backwards, that means you're not trusting God to take you forward. Think about that. You do have to trust him to move you forward. You have to trust him to move you forward. But here, you got to do that first step. If you want a new start, keep your mouth shut. Honestly, I can tell you this right here is going back some years ago. I can remember someone saying, hey, they were coming to me about someone's backstory. And it was a female coming to me about another female's backstory. And they were like, did you know this? I looked at their Facebook. Did you know that? I was like, no, I don't know this. I don't really care to know this. I don't know why you're telling me this. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I don't know why people feed so much on what pain people went through. That's not the best way to bond. Here's what I'll say too, is that what you meditate on will manifest in your life. So when God says what the wicked dread will manifest and what the righteous desire will manifest, I'm telling you what you dream up, what you're thinking about will manifest in your life. Okay? So everything is actually manifested through faith. The wicked don't understand they do have faith. They have faith that the evil will come to pass in their life. They have faith that the wrong or the bad will eventually come and surface in their life. They're putting faith in that rather than putting faith that God has a better plan for my life and that God is going to take me from this place to a better place. He is moving me like he moved Abraham out of this location to another location. Come on, think about it. So we get into this last point really quick, the power of choice. At the end of the day, never forget that God never takes away man's choice, because God said, I put life and death before you. I'm giving you choice. Everything man does is choice. Choice is different from desire. Let me help you out with that. I might desire something, but that's desire, not choice. And the desire may be strong, but I still have the choice. You understand what I'm saying? So the thing that we have to understand about the power of choice is your single greatest power, choice. Because whatever choice you make, the universe, God himself, will supply the power behind that choice, whether it is wicked or righteous. That's why what the wicked dread come upon them. So whatever choice you make, if you choose to fear, the power of fear will come and well up in you and overwhelm you. If you choose to have faith, the power of faith will also back you up. You understand the power of choice is that once you make the choice, no one has made a choice to be positive, but then started to be negative. No one has made the choice to be negative and started to be positive. What I'm telling you is that God honors choice. And when you choose to go in a direction, he will empower you into that direction. Think about what I'm saying. Never forget, God has put choice in us. And all we have to do, if we're going to be successful, is choose life. Because he says it in his word. I put two things before you, death and life. Choose life. But you can choose death if that's what you want. But God says, once again, I'm not making you choose anything. Okay? Choice is not innate. Choice is choice. That means that when I get to the time to make the decision, then I will choose. I'm going to talk about 3 practices that we need to develop going forward. The first one is tend to your own practices. Tend to your own practices. I'm reminded out of John chapter 21, verse 21 through 22, when Peter is walking with the Messiah on the beach. And as he's walking with the Messiah, he turns around, he sees somebody behind him. And Peter says, what about this man? He says, what about him? And Jesus says something that's so amazing. Jesus said to him, what does it matter to you? He says, what does it matter to you about this man? You follow me. I think that is kind of the main thing that we have to understand. It's a couple podcasts ago, I was saying that, don't spend more time developing things outside of your life than you do developing yourself. So think about it. Tend to your own practices. Get yourself healthy. Tend to your own practices. Make that the main focus of your life, right? And then here we go. Reverse negative thoughts. What do I mean by that? Reversing negative thoughts is that if you ever think anything negative, reverse that thought. Whatever it might be. You're going to go backwards. Your life is not going to work out. You're never going to reverse that. Every single negative thought. And it's cool to do this. If you're thinking a negative thought, write it down. And then write the exact opposite of that negative thought. And then scratch through the negative thought. And say, no, this is my mindset. So things that tell you you are going to die. Well, God says you will live. I want you to kind of think through those kind of things. Reverse every negative thought. Reverse every negative thought. So whatever negative thought you can come up with, reverse it. And then the third thing is do not kill the messenger. We have a tendency to be angry and kill the messenger, right? We have a tendency to cut off the people who is just bringing a message. I'll put it to you more or less like this. The way you kill the messenger is that basically when you're in a conversation and someone brings up something positive from the podcast, which is helpful and beneficial for your life, you kill the messenger. Don't bring that up to me right now. Don't talk like that to me right now. Why? Don't kill the messenger. You've killed the messenger when you receive the message, but you don't allow it to live forward in your life. Let the message that you've been given live forward in your life, and let people remind you of the message. Don't kill the messenger. And that's all I got for you. Band, take it away.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching and being a part of this community. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe. You're going to get weekly videos on building a growth mindset, cultivating grit, and unlocking your full potential.